to get onto the front row of the grid. And assuming he has a clear lap, are we going to see one of those mega efforts from Senna? But I don't really think this one is going to be a special lap, but we have to wait and see, because look, right behind there is red, number 5, Nigel Mansell, and nothing will give Mansell more pleasure than to just make the gap between Senna and himself evaporate. Good psychology, but I'm sure Senna will be aware of what's coming up behind him. He can't do very much about it. He may just back off, let Mansell go through, rather than face the indignity of being passed. Look at that, a little bit of gamesmanship from both drivers. Mansell under no pressure whatsoever. Senna being, Nigel, I didn't really mean to do that. But now Nigel, look at that. Now that was totally and utterly ridiculous. Ayrton Senna had no right to do that whatsoever. Mansell is going to be absolutely livid. Mind you, I must say that neither driver had any need to behave like that, because whatever Nigel might have been thinking, his pole position is totally safe. But Senna made life difficult for Mansell. We hope we will see a repeat of that. And that just, I think, is an indication of the frustration to some extent Senna might be feeling, but also Nigel's enthusiasm to just put one across Senna. Well, Nigel now holding his left leg. Similar situation to what we saw with Ayrton Senna in Mexico 2 weeks ago. Nigel really didn't hit the wall particularly hard, but look at the disappointment. He is absolutely gutted. And let's have a look and see again. Senna, you see, coming out on the right-hand side of the road. Mansell thinks he can go down the inside. Senna comes across. Mansell locks the brake, right front brake, gets the rear wheel onto the grass. They don't actually make any contact, and Mansell's car turns the front, slams in. Again, a similar situation that we saw with Senna in Mexico. And the way the mountings of the suspension are in the McLaren and on the Williams, he probably got a whack somewhere lower leg, very similar to Ayrton Senna.
Well, John, when this was all happening, Gerhard Berger put in his fastest time of the weekend, the 1:18.416. So we've got 2 Williams on the front row, then 2 McLarens, and then Michael Schumacher and John Alesi on the third row. So Gerhard Berger in the old MP46 pushed Michael Schumacher off that front row, and I think there was Martin Brundle having a little bit of a problem with one of the other competitors.
Yes, just getting past Boutsen. But I mean, I really can't wait now to go to the pole winners press conference, because Nigel Mansell is undoubtedly the man. Look, here we see it again. And really, Ayrton, I don't know what you were doing. I don't know really what Mansell thought he was doing either, because as far as Mansell's lap was concerned, it had been compromised, and really Ayrton shouldn't have been. Let's look at it now from in Mansell's car. You see, Senna really backed right off as they went into the left-hand corner, then accelerated. Nigel legitimately thought he could get past, and then all of a sudden it all went wrong. Bang! That was actually a more severe impact than it first looked. And you can see the suspension legs, the front suspension had probably punched into the chassis. Just a repeat of what Ayrton Senna had in Mexico. Professor Watkins coming to Mansell's aid. Basically, he's all right, but I think probably more disappointment than anything else. But certainly Professor Watkins there with Nigel Mansell.
Well, Mansell with the doctor, but Mansell on pole position, a 1:15.703 at the end of this qualifying session. Nothing can change that anymore. Riccardo Patrese in second, the 1:16.894, and then it's Ayrton Senna in the new McLaren MP47. Gerhard Berger in the old car in 4th place, then Michael Schumacher, Jean Alesi, Martin Brundle and Pierluigi Martini in 8th place. 9th place is for Carl Wendlinger, and 10th for the Ligier Renault of Thierry Boutsen, and I think that's the best performance we've seen so far from Boutsen and the Ligier team. And in replay again, well, Senna will probably say, sorry Nigel, didn't see you.
I don't think that would be a very legitimate excuse. Really, both drivers had no need to be doing what we're seeing. This is something you would expect to see in a Formula Ford or a Formula 3 race. The driver leading the World Championship this year, the current world champion, both really just screwing each other around on the racetrack, and that is plain stupid as far as I'm concerned. Both at fault. Mansell, of course, the loser in that situation.